Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and I'm really excited to be here today because I'm talking about Spintronics. Now, a while ago, I reviewed game is a strong word, a device called Turing Tumble. And Turing Tumble, which is made by the same company here, Upper Story Games, Turing Tumble, they uses marbles dropping down, sort of like a Plinko device, to run a computer. Now, that's like the gist of it. Hey, it's marbles falling down. Different levers and things. You build stuff, but it taught basic computer programming in a really fun way, and mechanically, it worked well. It's both educational, fun, and well-designed. It's amazing. I don't own many things personally. I own Turing Tumble. Like most of the games here are in Dice Out Library. Turing Tumble is at Tom Vasel's house because I want to be able to use it with my kids to show them some basic computer programming logic, but in a really, really fun way. Okay, so here's the next thing they did, Spintronics. As soon as I heard about this, I was involved, interested. This is about building mechanical circuits, and here we have gears spinning and chains, and it's teaching you how that works. So this is essentially a puzzle where you're going to read an objective, build a setup, and then complete circuits to do so. All mechanical. There's no electronics here. Well, it's like mechanical electronics. Let me show you. So here is Act 1. So let's take a look. This is the box. The lid comes up like this. We have the puzzle book, which we'll get back to in a second. And you see we have different devices that are in here. Now the main device you're going to be working with is this one here. And this has a string that you can pull all the way out. That you could, if you let it, it's kind of weird because it has a string, but if you let it go, it's going to slowly go back in when it's attached to stuff. You can let it go like that and it will spin it, but that's not what you're supposed to do. And I'll show you a little bit more about that in a second. But let's take a look here at this book. So inside the book, it tells you how to take care of your parts, be careful with them. Talk, gives you comics. They like to do this, kind of like an introduction. Hey, a comic. And then here's the battery. This is a battery. And it says you build a circuit breaker in it to let things go too far. But you're now going to build a basic circuit, which means you just attach something next to this. And so there's different parts that are unlocked, and it will show you each part as they're unlocked. And then it will show you a little bit about building these chains here in the book. This is a challenge. What a challenge does is it says these are things that you can use. And hey, it shows you where to even put the part that goes there. But as time goes by, as you get different challenges, these are the parts and you need to make something happen. So this is like here, challenge 31, make the battery charge the capacitor. So here's how you build the different things. These are magnetic, or they're not magnetic, they're like bases here. And I can attach it like this, then you'll lock them into place with this device, which you just put in there, and then you use this key to lock it in place. See, now they're together. Now, there's going to be all sorts of gears, and they all magnetically stick to this. And then you're going to build chains. So after you played a while, you'll have some chains built. They come in these little pieces like this. And it is a bit of a chore to initially put these together. But after that, you have the chains, and so you can just take them, make different size chains, and you can break them apart very easily. I can just, I can unsnap it, or I can snap it back together. So what you can do is you put the chains like this, and because it's magnetic, you can slide this to pretty much anywhere you want. So let's say I want to bring it out to here. I just put the chain here in the bottom, chain's in the bottom of that one. There, the chain is taut. And now when I pull this string, look, this moves this one. Now this is very basic, obviously moving this, but what you're going to be able to do is all sorts of things. Here's a sound device. Now I make it, I pull this, and I'm using these chains to make this sound. There is a button that you can turn things off again, like this. Here's a chain with, here's a gear with 3 different levels. So you can see there's all sorts of things. Here I have a spin voltmeter, And all these different devices can be used to build all sorts of things with all sorts of different chains. But like I said, what you're doing here, I mean, you can just mess around with it and have fun with it. But what you're going to do is you're going to try to figure out where to put something. And so this will tell you, here's challenge 2. This is the way it starts. And no more connections to level R1, this is R1, are allowed. So how do I do this? And the difficulty here is 1 star. But if you go back into the book gives you solutions to the different challenges. And again, you could kind of just ignore the different solutions. Some of the solutions are pretty obvious, so they don't even tell you all of them. I think you can find them online. But you could just go to the solutions and build those things to see how it works. Everything fits very easily into this box, and this is just one of 2 boxes. So I have Act 2 of this also. And Act 2, you need Act 1 to play it, gives you another whole book here, but gives you more devices and a few really kind of funky different spinning devices that you can attach. And then when you go through book 2, and I should mention, it also explains the transistor diode and how that works. But there's another whole selection of challenges. I believe it goes up to challenge 145 or so. Or 147. That's a whole lot of things you can do. Anyway, there's a whole lot more to this, but this is kind of a kit that you can discover and mess with on your own. That's Spintronics. There's no question that when you talk to majority of kids and you say resistors, switches, capacitors, inductors, transistors, iammeters, what does any of that mean? This teaches that. Now, I want to be really clear that Turing Tumble, I thought, was pretty basic and got a little bit more complex as it went on. Spintronics is still basic, but this one is a deeper, more involved thing going on here. It's not as easy to get up. In the other one, in Turing Tumble, you put the marbles, boom, 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 they fell down. Here you have to build these chains. You got to kind of stretch the chain into the right position. There's a little bit more fiddliness to it, but I don't think that's a bad thing. It just gives me, man, I wish, where was this when I was a kid? I had one of those little electric sets, I don't know if you remember from the 80s, where you connected little wires in different orders, and you press a button over here and a red light would go off and the whole thing was run off a 9-volt battery. I thought that was exciting, and it was educational and useful. This is the same thing, but no battery needed. Here, the whole thing is the force from you pulling that string and releasing it runs the whole thing. And what a cool concept. What a neat thing. It both works as a puzzle and it works as an educational device. Then there's the cartoons and all sorts of things. I mean, I'm learning from this sort of thing. Now, you don't need to own both boxes to have this original one I showed you. There's Act 1 and Act 2. Act 2 adds some stuff to it, adds a lot more stuff, but you're going to have tons and tons of stuff to do with just this. This is all you really need for a while. But man, I'm taking this to my house and putting this on top of Turing Tumble. Yes, it's more involved. Yes, this is one that for a while, until my son is much older, I would do with him. And when we were playing this together, we're building chains, doing stuff, and I'm talking about, hey, if this gear spins this way, it makes this one spin this way. And he was fascinated by this because you know what? This sort of science and fascinating thing is fascinating. It's cool. And this makes it that way in a very palatable way. If you homeschool, get this. If you teach mechanical engineering or basic physics sciences, this is something really worth your while to get. I love this. I'm giving this an 8.5. I just think it's such a neat device. It works so, I don't know. I was expecting there to be a battery involved. There's not. The string with the built-in thing that keeps it from snapping works really well. Yeah, it's neat. So this is another winner from Upper Story. Like I said, if you're involved with science and kids at all, this is something you want to get. But you know what? You don't even need any kids. This is still kind of fun. I've been messing with it for this review and fooling around and doing chains, and I've been having a lot of fun. So check it out. That's Spintronics. I'm Tom Vasel. Highly approved by the Dice Tower.